Hello everybody and welcome to a 248K mod overview. Ghostified Gamer. Here I am, ready to present it for you. This is a mega basing mod with some interesting complexity aspects to it. And right off the bat, let's go into what it takes to win. Now, in vanilla Factorio, you launch a rocket and you win, but you can keep playing. Well, in 248K, you have to make a 248K element and you win. But getting there is another story. You have all these other different elements that you have to make, which are used in other elements and so on and so forth until you get to that last element there. For some reason, this is the cheapest one here, so it's up here. And then these are out of order. I don't know why in the tech tree. So just be aware of that. Now I've done all the research except the elements. That's a huge undertaking, but I wanted to take some stock in what I'm doing here. I'm working on some builds, and I'm probably going to restart a new save, knowing what I know now. So if I get good response from this video and maybe some tutorials, I'll do a playthrough. So anyway, that's the the synopsis of that, and also the purpose here of why I'm doing this video. So let's look at first. These are the buildings I've laid out. This is kind of like a checklist for me in a sense. But let's save the game, quit the game. We're gonna go into settings and mod settings. And before you download this mod, if you're thinking about it, you want to try it out, maybe you want to put it in your an existing save and check it out. There's a few things you need to know, and we'll get to that in a second. It's down here, but first off, 248K mod settings are start up here, and you can change a lot of the power here. For some of these entities here. Now, you don't need, I didn't change them, and I recommend not, just leave them as default, but just be aware that you can. K1 power usage, you can change that. I left that at default, as well as the beacon effectivity and area. I just left that all alone. I just wanted to play it on the normal settings, at recommended settings. Now, the big one that you need to be concerned with here is this checkbox here. Overhaul vanilla / Factorio 2 by inserting 248K in progression as well as in text and recipes. Here's a note. When 248K is added in already existing save, this may cause problems. For best gameplay, use this on a new world. So, if you have an existing save, vanilla or Factorio 2, whatever, check this box off and it will insert it in and it won't break your save, your map, because the mod will change recipes on you. So your red circuits, your advanced circuits, and your processing units, red circuits on down to the blue circuit processing unit will change. Your blue science and down will change. Not your space science, though, but there are some things related to space science that may change. I don't think there are. Well, low-density structures, no, they don't change either. So it's just the three sciences and a lot of other things, which I'll go over. So be aware of this. Start a new save and check the box, and you're good, okay? Now, this one here is, I think, checked by default. Might as well leave it. Why wouldn't you want to blueprint the beacons? And this one here is checked off by default. And I recommend just leaving it off unless, you've played Bob's Angels and all these other, overhaul mods where you can get productivity in beacons. Then, do whatever you want, of course. But if you're playing this for the first time, leave it off because you want to get the feel of the mod as it is. And normally it's speed and beacons, So we went over that one. Factorio 2, Endgame harder if you want that. And if you're playing the Factorio 2. Now, this one here, 248K Nuclear reactors will become a research reactor to guide towards realistic reactors. Nuclear fuel and other are integrated in 248K progression, only possible in overhaul mode. I have that checked by default. I think it was checked. I don't know. I can't remember if it was checked by default, but you might as well leave that checked. You know, it's for the fun of just doing this stuff here. Now, this was just added yesterday. Retexture science packs with 248K icons. It doesn't work with Factorio 2 because I think they have their own there. Definitely check this box if it isn't. It's really cool to see different science packs on the belt. And this one here, it's a work in progress. However, there is a secondary lab. There's 3 labs in 248K, and this adds an additional lab, which you can only use when researching tech that has a specific science pack called an exotic science pack. Now, there's other stuff here. The reason it's WHIP is there are some things that he's going to come up with here called simulation methods, and it won't work with Factorio 2, unfortunately. So whatever. So check that box if you're want extra stuff, and I'll show you all this stuff too. Aside from that, I think we're good. Let's go back. Let's go to mods. I just want to showcase this real quick while we're at it. Some mods that he recommends. Prele Zero is the mod developer, and he recommends a few, but you don't need them. Fluid Must Flow. Definitely get that one. Let's see here. FNEI I recommend. Hellmod I recommend. Informatron, he recommends that. I recommend it too. There's some information in there about the mod. Jetpack is good when using the Fluid Must Flow, because Squeak Through does not work with the Fluid Must Flow pipes. I use MIDI loaders because I'm so done with inserters. Modular inserter is nice to have. Let's see here. Squeak Through. And maybe a train supply manager or some, LTN or TSM. We'll go back. But I highly recommend the Fluid Must Flow mod. Highly recommend it, especially if you're going to Megabase. And then he also, on his mod portal, you can go there, just type in 248K to search for the mod, obviously. And he recommends UMR and a couple others too. All right, so let's continue, and we'll get into the game. So these are the machines I have placed here is to showcase the art style, the art direction. I think he does his own art, which is really cool. And these machines here are under your electronics stage. And as you go through the mod, you'll get fission stage unlocked, fusion. There's a start engine recipes tab here and an exotic stage. So you get all these cool things as you go. And so what I have placed here is the basic electronic stage buildings. So I want to go into details on this. It would take me forever, but just be aware that there's kerosene burners. There's a new burner generator. There's an item void and also fluid void. It's limited, and you might have to do some processing, but it will void water. It doesn't void dirty water directly, so you have to turn it into water to void it. And there's okay, so there's ore processing. We'll get into this a little bit. I'll show you a little basics of that. So they have ore processing. You have to wash the ore, then you can liquefy it. In the ore that comes out of the washing is pure. So you take the pure ore, you liquefy it, then you cast it into plates. And there's pretty much every plate in the game is available in these machines. So you got your usual copper, iron, steel. You got a new plate, aluminum, and then you've got some high-end mid-game to late-game ores here, and then lead plates, which is only used for one thing, which is liquefying lead, which is kind of interesting. You have some hydrogen, water to hydrogen processing, mysterious crystals. Here's another power thing. These are water turbines. and you use you have to create pressurized water to make these operate. And there's 16 total. It would be 16 megawatts, which is really nice. And here's your purifier. And we got a very large 500 unit tank and a little tiny beacon, K1 beacon. Right now it's being transmitted to speed modules, which is really cool. Some of the things that, now this is why you need to be careful with that checkbox if you have an existing save. This is what's going to change in your for 248K mod here. So the chemical science will have a mysterious crystal added to it, and the motor changes, which is over here. We'll get to that in a second. We have an electric furnace will change for your production science, as well as you need titanium plate, which is kind of like a pile of ingots there. And then you have your utility science, and that changes. The blue circuit changes, the flying robot changes, and you have neodymium added to the recipe there. Your advanced circuit changes by adding ceramic. Your processing unit changes by adding gold. Your motor changes by adding an aluminum ceramic composite. And your electric motor changes by adding gold. Your flying robot frame changes by adding neodymium. Now we have some basic vanilla components here, which I wanted to showcase a few of them. As you can see, the oil refinery now requires that aluminum ceramic composite, as well as the chemical plant requires that little item there. If you want to do vanilla nuclear power, you can. However, you need fiberglass reinforced plastic, which is a an item that you have to create in the which is mod specific, as well as the heat exchanger. Here's the solar panel, and it's kind of cool because you get 2 of those per craft, and it requires the aluminum in that case. And again, those are the power levels of the solar, and all these newer items are configurable upon startup. These here also, if you go to craft these, you'll get 2 per craft, these water turbines. The solar all put together looks pretty cool like this. It's kind of a light color. It's kind of nice actually. And he's got little solar panels on there. It looks like it's on a concrete, he's got the concrete base there. So that's kind of neat. So that's your power there. Now, some other, okay, we went over those. These are high-end machines here. This is high-end stuff. Let's go over this real quick here. Now, there is this oil processing facility, which is a higher-end facility. It's listed in the mod that you'll need this to get even higher throughput, and there's also specific stuff you're going to need later on. I kind of opted out of using this, and I regret it in this save. By the way, this save is a test save that I'm utilizing and trying to kick the mod around and do some builds and stuff. It's not a serious playthrough. So I didn't really utilize these. I kind of regret it, even though this is a test save. But look at the petroleum gas you get out of this thing. 95. However, you have to add some sulfur, which is not a big deal. But boy, you want to talk about quite a bit of gasoline there. And you get a little heavy oil, which you can, create more gasoline if you wanted to. So those are pretty cool, pretty neat art graphics on there, art direction on that. We'll get to this in a second. I'm going to show you some other power. Here is a stellarator, and these are tokamaks, and this is kind of like the next progression in power. And I skipped this one here. Let me go over here. Here's this is kind of a reskinned power. It's a reactor. It's got the same sound and the same function. Uses turbines. So it's kind of like, yeah, okay, this is, this is a reskinned reactor, basically. Nuclear reactor. And I'm using thorium fuel in there right now. Pretty much forever. So here's your first kind of level of reactor, nuclear power. Then you get into stellarators, and then eventually you get to tokamak. To show you what the tokamak stellarator looks like, this is my first build. Pretty cool. It's got a nice glow to it. and it takes protium and lithium to operate this. And this is a secondary consumer of the additional products that come out of these oil refineries here. So that has to be here just in case, so things don't back up. Now, this is 2 megawatts right here, or 2 gigawatts. It's 200 megawatts per turbine. It's a big turbine. He added these not too long ago, and these are pretty cool. And they use critical steam. Critical steam. So what happens is you have to have molten lead or liquid lead, which is you're getting into mid game for this. You heat the lead up, then you cool it in these cooling tower things, or liquid lead heat exchangers. So you got your water, you got your hot lead, creates steam, well, actually critical steam, and then you turn your turbines. There you go. And then I scaled it up with this is a Stark engine. We'll get into that in a second. So I scaled it up with 3 stellarators, and I scaled it up again with 4. And that's all she wrote. So that's kind of fun. Yeah, it's kind of cool. This is the fluid must flow mod. This is how vanilla pipes look. It sloshes back and forth. It's very annoying. Very annoying. Anyway, so that's your higher end power. The last power option that you're going to have is a black hole. And this generates 1 terawatt of power, but feeding this is a production goal in itself. I've tried to, fool around with this a little bit. I'm like, oh my God, this is just insane. So just be aware that there is really crazy power available, and this might need to be balanced a little bit. I think it's too tough to get it up and running. But I don't want to, I'm saying that now, but if I scaled up more and more, it may not be that tough. But this thing will eat material like no tomorrow. So I think it is a little tough based on the amount of rockets you have to launch to even get that thing up, keep that thing running. So that's the first wave, the electronics wave phase or whatever. Some other stuff to note. Once you get to exotic science, which we haven't gone over yet, you're going to need this cool lab. It's a T-lab. And this is that checkbox that if you check it on, you have to build this lab. And also the other checkbox, as you can see here, these science packs changed. And that's the other checkbox. And, of course, why wouldn't you want to do that? It's pretty cool. We'll look at the other ones later on. Now, this is Endgame stuff here. I wanted to showcase this here. This is just kind of like I wanted to show it here, but I don't want to go over it just yet. Fusion assembly machines. You can only make this item in this machine. So there's certain things that are gated here. So let's go over. Oh, all right. Here's another thing. This is an example of pure aluminum processing. What it's doing is it's taking stone, washing it, and we're getting pure aluminum out and dirty water. And this is basically 12 of these washers, basically, or purifiers. And the dirty water that comes out gets processed into fluorite and lithium. So that's your dirty water becomes a very important resource. And as you can see, I can't get through here. So that's why I got the jetpack to get over. Okay, so let me go over my notes here. Okay, we got that. Ore processing. All right, and bots. So let's take care of the bots really quick here. There's another wave level of bots. And watch this. Whoo! I'm only at bot speed 12. And that's how fast these little guys are. That's a Tesla construction bot. You can pause the video and read the stats on that. I don't need to say any more. Now, here's the little burner. Burns a little wood there. Has a little light on it. Pretty cool. A little smoke. This is the item destroyer. You can put tons of wood in there. You can even put speed modules in it and just destroy any item in the game except nuclear waste. Oh, wow. So yeah, you can really crank out some stuff there. We'll let that run. So yeah, be careful with this when you're shift right control clicking. I accidentally put a star engine in that once. I was like, oh no. And I basically cheated it back in. Okay, we'll get into this in a little bit later. Let's go to our little hub. But what I want to do is show off the... this is the power. I ended up scaling it up, scaling it up, scaling it up. More power, more power, more power. This mod requires a lot of power when you get into the, the actual workings of 248K. When you start, embarking on the project more. So right here is an example. I'm taking stone, and he highly recommends bumping your stone up in richness and frequency. Stone is the pun intended bedrock of the mod. You're going to need a lot of stone, so he recommends that. So I'm washing the stone here, and I am from that I picked a recipe that you're getting copper, iron, and aluminum. And because you get extra aluminum, or you really can't gauge what you're going to use for more of at any given time. You have to have these item fluid handling facilities to burn off excess. So I have a set amount that I want in this case. And as you can see, if you mouse over, I got 1,300 aluminum, 1,100 copper, and 1,000. Oh, it's 1,300 iron. Yeah, 1,300 iron, 1,100 copper, and 1,000 aluminum. This is how it worked out. And here's your dirty water. You want to save this as much as possible. It took me a while, but then I finally broke down and created a purifier here and vented the water because I was so sick and tired of this thing backing up, and it will back up on you. It's very difficult to balance this when you're trying to build and you're not doing research and stuff. So dirty water, like I said, there's two ways to two important things you need to do with it. One is make lithium, which is here, and the other is hydrofluoric acid. The hydrofluoric acid is used to further wash ore, specifically copper and iron. And there's, I can't remember if there's other recipes. Yeah, you can wash uranium. You wash the stone. And I'm not doing this recipe because I don't need the mysterious energy crystals. There's a doubler in the game, in the mod that you can use. But I'm using these two here. Copper washing gets you rich water. That's what you're after. And iron washing also gets you the rich water. So these two I'm using. I'm not using. I used this one. No, I did use this one to get the energy crystals initially to kickstart the doubling system, because there's a Covrex for the energy crystal in the mod. Now this one I did use just to get some uranium products, because you need those for research. I'm not going to get into that, of course, because it's too much information. So this is the next phase of ore processing using hydrofluoric acid, and we need to get this rich water to obtain gold, niobium, and the titanium, as well as lead ore, which is used to make the liquid lead for not only power, but there's some items you need to create. I'm not going to get into that because I don't want to spoil everything for you, and this video would be 3 hours long. So that's the processing, ore processing. And I think, and then I got a little build here. This is the train fueling. This is the, I think it's energized diesel fuel. I don't have it. This train I got to upgrade yet. Yeah, here, let's take okay. Here we go. Yeah, super energized fuel unit. That's what I'm making there. So let's see what else we got. Ore processing, bots, electronic stage machines. We got other machines of note. All right, so let's go back over here. This is an example of what you could do with beacons in the mod. It's nuts. All right, so there is another version of this. It's a lower version. It takes fuel, uranium-based fuel, basically. But this one here is a fusion assembly machine. It requires no power. You can put any module in this, and it will draw no power at all. And you have to launch rockets in order to get this machine up and running, or to get it. This machine here is a little sneak peek here. We're creating some exotic materials here, which you need for building. All right. This, like I said, this is the T-Lab. Then you have a black hole, a white hole, which basically is a doubler. Now, you don't want to waste to 1 terawatt of power, which is what this thing takes. Whoops. You don't want to waste 1 terawatt of power duplicating copper ore or copper plates. You want to use this to duplicate other crazy stuff. Maybe you want to duplicate the items you need for this. Now, here's an S-Lab. It's specifically researching these specialty, science packs. And then this is kind of a little build that I kind of was messing around with. I'm just doing a proof of concept on it. But this is what you need to do in order to get the science packs for this. Crazy stuff. All right, let's move along. Okay, went over power options. Now, trains. All right, so we've got the trains over here. But let me run over here real quick and run through all this mess. I got to go over the modules. Yeah, okay. It's pretty loud. I asked the Prelay Zero to kick it down 30%, but it's still too loud. So I might have to ask him to kick it down again. I don't want to be a pest though. So this is a diesel train, and it, like I said, it takes the super energized fuel units. It has a bunch of buffs for it, but it also can take these turbochargers, and it also takes the train nuclear reactor to power these up. So you get a 35% movement bonus times 3, pretty crazy. And then you power it up with this. You get a little power budget left over there. And then you get the buffs from the super energized fuel as well. Pretty cool stuff. I'm running these trains here because it's just easier. And vanilla trains were so slow. All right, so now we do have, do I have that train car? Here we go. This one, I do not. Let's grab one of these. And, autosave. Let's go over here. I'll plop this down here. So, this is the diesel train with the reskinned. Basically, it's an EM suspension wagon. And it takes pretty much 248K mid to end game items. And so you can't just make this with iron and steel. You know, you have to have other things. And the capacity is the same as a vanilla wagon. So mainly cool factor. Now, the weight on it is nothing. Huh. No weight. Now that's interesting because it is a suspension train. There is no weight. So these things are going to cook. Now, I didn't use them on all my trains. I did use, these are the fluid wagons here. Yeah, they have no weight on them. Weight is 10. There it is. Holy moly. So, because they are, floating, basically. Wow, that's 1,000. These are floating. So you have a benefit right away of faster trains, zippier trains. There you go. So that's how they look, together. Now, this is the next level of the first level, but yeah, I would say first level of 240K train cars. And it does take quite a bit to get these rolling, to go, to get them built. But the weight in 10 alone is amazing. So the capacity is the same. So your benefit is the weight. Now, here is the EM2 weight of 10. and it's double the capacity, and of course it has the cool factor. These are the 2 next generation trains. This is the EM1 basically, and this is the EM2. The EM1, I opted out of this one because it requires the uranium fuel. I do have it, but I just didn't want to make a hub from ore processing to fuel trains because I felt like it might be inconsistent and my trains would be, you know, sitting around with no fuel. And you could make a consistent fuel system for it using uranium-based fuel, you know, mining it. But I just didn't feel like doing that because the mod just didn't push it towards that way. So I was like, whatever. And the diesel trains are fast enough for me as it is, especially with the map size that I have. It's not a very big map that I have. Not big at all. Excuse me. Now this one here doesn't have a fuel requirement because it has, and the reason I put this down here is because I always forget what the heck this thing is called. It has a compact fuel cell in there, so it doesn't require power. Now, so if you're running a fuel mod, you want to turn it off, but if you're going to go to these trains, you have to go all or nothing on them because TSM, Train Supply Manager, crashed on me because it couldn't resolve the fact that, oh, you don't have fuel. What crash? So it crashed. I don't know what LTN will do, or any other fuel mods, you know, train fuel mods. But the strategy would be to turn off all your fuel and then go crazy. I've already stockpiled a bunch of trains, so when I'm ready, I'm going to switch over to these to test them out and have fun with them. So that's the dealio with that. This train car here requires that compact fusion thing. And the reason for that is because it's a suspension train and it's higher capacity. So it kind of makes sense to, you know, make it more expensive, which is pretty cool. Now here's an example of what you could do with these beacons. This is a K3 beacon mixed with K2 beacons. And I think this thing is like 8,000% speed with 100% productivity. And it generates or consumes no power. However, these are 40 megawatts apiece. So it's kind of a balance, I think. You know, it's a trade-off. Okay, so now let's talk about the modules and what there is in the mod. So you have your vanilla modules and you have these particular modules. They're called Stoke modules. So you have 1.art, 2.art, 3.art, on up to 6. Okay. And the 4, 5, 6 are called GAUs. We'll look at those in a second here. So the requirement is, you know, a module core, you know, all this. Now, they only are 6 productivity. You may ask, why would I use this? If it's only 6, I can just get a level 3 beacon or a level 3 module and get 10. Well, this can be inserted in any machine. Any machine. I think there's a couple there's one I know for sure limitation. You can't put productivity in, but you could put this productivity in any machine. And I'll show you that in a second as well. The level 2, as you can see, starts getting tougher. 2 productivity module 2s, blue circuit. The level 3 here, this is equivalent, or well, it's a little better, 2% better than your level 3 vanilla. And you can put it in any machine. 2 productivity module 3s though, and a little fusion tech. I'll let you figure that one out later when you start playing. Then you got these Gauss module 4 arts. And as you can see, 5% productivity. It's like, well, you know, hey, I could use this one right here, you know, or this one. So yeah, I don't understand that one, why it's so low. Now, here is your, I guess you could say equivalent to vanilla. However, you can put it in any machine, which is great. And then the granddaddy of them all, the 6.art, 25% productivity. Insane. And you have to launch a shit ton of rockets to get that one. Now, what's really crazy about this is I could go to a substation here and I could put these modules in it. And I can get 100% productivity on this machine right here. I'm not going to do that, though. So that's the modules. Now, let's cover the beacons. And, but first, let me just touch on the rocket. I don't want to spoil stuff, though. All right, so there are 3 probes on top of the vanilla satellite. You need to launch these 3 probes in order to research, to get the exotic science pack, and to build machines. So, this is the middle probe, I'll call it, the space probe. And you need this particular item here to build, as well as the rocket launch, which is this deep space probe. You need to launch those in order to get items to build as well. So, you're going to be launching some rockets in this game, in this mod here. So, I don't want to spoil it. I just wanted to point it out. You got to launch some rockets, baby. All right. So, right now, we're going to talk about the beacons and the KI cores. I'm thinking about doing a tutorial on this just for people in the Discord that are asking about them. You have KI 1, 2, and 3 cores, and you have KI 1, 2, and 3 beacons. All right? There's limitations on the KI 1 and 2 beacons. I'm not going to show a KI 1 beacon. I did show over here. Oh, I don't have radar over there. That's fine. KI 2 beacons, I have them everywhere right now. Okay. It's showing 6 speed modules. That's because I've researched some things, and if you go in here, search KI, you'll see that I have this research here. Double the module effects on all of your KI cores. Now this one it says only works on KI 3 beacons. However, there is research that doubled the KI 2, I think. Or tripled it, because all I have right now is this one running, the KI1. It has 2 speed modules in it. If you mouse over my KI2 beacon, I have 6. So it triples the effects. So there's a research there, I just had to find it, that doubled and then tripled, I'm pretty sure. It's been a little while since I've done that research. So this beacon right here is triple speed. And I think that, notice the distribution efficiency is 0.5. So it's actually 3 speed modules being transmitted, I do believe. Now, let's get a KI3 beacon, which I have right here. And you'll notice that it's also, accepting the 3 speed modules being transmitted, which is 2 times, the tripling. But I'll show you the difference here between these 2 and the research. This is a KI2 core. Notice the power, 207 megawatts. KI1, 20 megawatts. KI3, 2 gigawatts. Now also notice that we need speed modules in these. Now, note, if you do play the mod and you get these guys, be careful. When you pull these up, you will lose your speed modules. Take the speed modules out first. I already noted this to Prelay Zero. Hopefully he works on it. I don't know if he will. We'll see. But be sure to take your speed out first and then pull the core up, because there's 2 hitboxes, and I think that's the problem with it. I don't know why. I guess that's my only reason. These 2 here produce, when the fluid is supplied, red tech and yellow tech, KI3 and 2. And that's used in research. So, you don't need these for for infinite science or anything like that, for infinite research. So I just basically set them up, let them run, walked away, went to bed, woke up, did some research. So, just be mindful of that. And also when they will build up, so you'll need to do an item destroyer, which is here somewhere. There it is. An item fluid destroyer. You'll need to just destroy them. You could stockpile them in a big case and then destroy them when they build up, that kind of thing if you want to. So, let's get into this now. All right, we're going to kick the red one on and watch. Oh, bam, that was fast. Now it's even more doubled. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 12 speed modules. But on the K2, nothing. All right, so you're limited on the K2s. Here is the KI Core 3. Bonk. Ready? Boom! 18 speed modules. But KI2, nothing. Okay, so the research that I have done, completed, only doubled this effect, I think, on this beacon, or tripled the effect on this beacon here. The additional research, even more, tripled this. So, yeah. So it tripled it, and then also these two add. So it's 2, 4, 6 times 3. That's what it's doing. Yeah. So you're getting all these effects plus the tripler is what's going on, I do believe there. Now I'm going to pull this pipe up here because I do not run these. And that is beacons. Okay. So I think I've covered it all. Beacons, cores, and modules. And the trains and all that good stuff. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them on the comments below, as you do in the YouTube universe. Go to the mod portal, get the mod, come on the Discord if you need help, and have fun. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you soon.